the movie Legion, and I was wondering if Sam and Dean were in that movie, do you think they would have been like had it under wraps?
Maybe in the later years. I mean, there was an old woman crawling on the wall, so I don't know. Maybe Dean could have early on, you know what I mean, taken care of business. But yeah, I think the later years they would have had it. Yeah. Thank you.
Hello.
Hi.
I was wondering, which of your characters do you think would get along the best?
Together. Huh. Well, Miss Perkins will get along with no one, so that's off the table. I think that Charlie from Legion and Tyra from Friday Night Lights would be.
I was thinking that.
They're very similar characters. I feel like they would either love each other or hate each other. You know, it's a good question.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name's Coral, and my question was, if you think Jess should have come back, how do you think she should have come back? Because I think that she should have come back, like, when the apocalypse happened. She should have came back with them.
I agree. I agree. You should tell them that.
Right. Or like Purgatory or something. I feel like she should have came back in like one of those.
Absolutely. I mean, I do think like she was the love of his life, you know, and she did start that movement forward for him to
Yeah, and I
to
feel
do
like
this.
having her in there later, just to see how it would have went, I feel like they really missed an opportunity there.
Absolutely, especially with him having other relationships.
Yeah.
Like, especially was during another relationship,
Yeah.
having her come back in a moment of him trying to figure out his feelings. That would have been, come on guys, layers, you know what I mean? But yeah, I really wish she'd come back at the end at least.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Valerie.
Hi, Valerie.
I'm sorry if this question is redundant, I just came back from a photo op, but I loved you in the Orville, and I'm wondering if
Thank you.
doing sci-fi feels fundamentally different than other genres, or if it's kind of the same process for everything because it's the humanity of it at the end of the day, I guess. Or...
I think because of, yes, the genre itself, it wasn't just sci-fi. It felt like, even though people are in prosthetics and things like that, you're talking like Bortus, it becomes so second nature, you know? So almost when he becomes Peter, you're like, who are you? But I don't know, that show specifically because it dealt with so many social issues that are happening today, I just felt very present in it, and it didn't feel like we're on the ship until we were on the bridge forever. And then, you know, it's like you all have to like move, you know, okay, we had a wall together, you know, sideways, like, I mean, you get whiplash sometimes for the day. That was the only time it actually felt like sci-fi, but other than that, it was just another Tuesday. And I love Kelly. I think she's just an amazing character.
You guys were hilarious. I love that show.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you. Oh, you know what? She and Bobby would get along really well, I think. To go back to the question before. Sorry.
Hi,
Hello.
I'm Joel.
Hi,
Great to
Joel.
meet you. Thanks so much for your career. You do amazing work. I was just curious. I'm a massive comic book geek myself. I've been to a ton of cons, and I'm just curious, like, if you think back to when you were a kid. I mean, obviously you had your brother, but was there any particular comic book or issue that you remember, like, really kind of grabbing you and latching on, like an early story that you thought was really cool that affected you early on?
Well, it's kind of a long story. So I was picked on as a kid. I looked like not even a cute little boy. I'll be honest with you. I just looked like a little boy. But I really genuinely wanted to fall into a character, and so I always looked up to Supergirl. You know, she had all the powers, but she was also just beautiful. And so I actually got a Supergirl tattoo before I played the fake Kara. Spoiler alert if you haven't seen Smallville. But that's how much I loved the characters. And then getting to play Wonder Woman was like, what? And then Mockingbird. I mean, these are exciting things. And anybody who's seen me at other cons knows that I really want to play Rogue. So she's the only one left for me that I need in the roster. But that was, I love looking up at these strong women, and they could do anything in comic books, and I love that.
Great.
Thank you.
I have another question about Orville. My name is Kim. And I was wondering, how was it working with Seth? And how did you get things done with him?
Well, Seth and I have known each other for a long time. We campaigned for Obama together in 2008, and he wrote a show for ultimately with his best friends. Like, I'd known Jane Lee that long. Scott he knew for 20 years before that. Like, he wanted to make a show with his dearest friends. So he definitely wrote it, I think, with me in mind for Kelly. And we did have fun. It was just such a hard show to shoot, and he is a perfectionist. And I think that's what makes him so good at what he does. But everybody's always like, did you guys just have a blast, blah, blah, blah. I was like, no, because he had the job of everything. We all were like children and like, you know, it'd be like wrangling cats. Just like all over, running around, laughing. But, you know, he's very specific in his thoughts, and he's a genius. But it was a lot of work, and it was a lot of hard work, but I think that's why it paid off in the end. So it was a pleasure working with him. I'd love to do it again, but it was definitely, there were hard days. There were really long days.
Thank you.
Thank you.
How you doing?
Hey, how are you doing?
So she said I have to ask you a question. I have more of a comment. I've been watching you from G.I. Joe to everything almost 20 years ago since Friday Night Lights. So back in Friday Night Lights, I thought you were like super hot. So that was my comment. Now I'm gonna turn it into a question, I guess. 'Cause basically, 20 years later, I remember drooling over you, 20 years ago. But today, you look exactly the same as you did 20 years ago. So I guess the question would be, how do you maintain your beautiful look? You still look like.
Well, I love you. Thank you. Well, I don't have children, so I think that's part of it. I have a furry child. Best kind. But I also think, like, I live in Austin, Texas. I don't live in Los Angeles. I don't know, I take care of myself. I'm outside a lot. But partly genetics, but I think it's also a mentality, you know? I do feel youthful, and I do have a massive group of friends that are not even in the industry, and I feel like that keeps me young and thriving, and then a lot of lasers and Botox. So, thank you. No filler though, because ladies, that shit falls. But thank you. That's a very beautiful compliment. Thank you very much.
Hi, I'm Emily. So Dean has the same birthday as Jess, and I was wondering what your thoughts were as to why Eric Kripke may have made that choice.
Well, probably as a reminder, you know,